Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
The most profitable automaker in the world is in the sights of the UAW.
That pay raise Toyota is giving you is the UAW bump. UAW, that stands for You Are Welcome.
As Fain talks Stellantis, tonight he laid out the future, a massive organizing push. And all of this as the UAW's National Stellantis Council votes to send its deal to the membership. Thanks for being with us. I'm Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Devin Skillian. That deal includes big gains for Mopar. Mara McDonald live at Solidarity House tonight. Let's start with Toyota. Mara, just boosting all of its workers' wages and also decreasing the time it takes to get to that top pay.
And Devin, as the UAW chief said tonight, boy, that sure sounds familiar. Let me show you.
You are welcome to join our stand-up movement. If this is what Toyota gives you when the big three stand up and fight, imagine what you could accomplish if you join the UAW and stand up and fight for yourselves.
Let the wooing of the Toyota workers begin. Shawn Fain making it clear the union's priority after winning historic gains at the Detroit 3 is a massive expansion in organizing.
Now we're going to organize like we've never organized before, so we can raise the standard everywhere. And that's going to take time. That's why we went into bargaining with Stellantis and demanded an expiration date of April 30th, 2028. Our goal is to come back to the table in 2028, a much stronger union, a much louder union, and a much larger union.
After declaring his intentions, Fain and UAW VP Rich Boyer went into detail on what they've landed at Stellantis, which mimics the Ford deal with some important inclusions. Mopar workers, for example, who have long felt slighted.
For decades, members of Mopar have worked at significantly lower wages to the production workers. That comes to an end in this contract.
Not only do production workers get a 25% pay bump, but now Mopar gets on their pay schedule, which is an immediate 76% raise. But there will be consolidation for some Mopar facilities. They've also managed to bring the idled Belvedere plant back to life with a new product. Now the deal goes to the membership for ratification. Back here live, GM's deal to its national council is on deck next. They vote tomorrow. We're live on Detroit's east side at Solidarity House. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Closer and closer we get. All right, Mara.
Doctors and their patients come together in an unusual way tonight, leaving the hospital and getting together for a celebration of life. Jacqueline Francis was there, joins us with a story shared tonight. Jacqueline.
Yeah, this reunion was about heart recovery patients coming together with their cardiologists who have together overcome some major medical challenges. And tonight, they wanted to celebrate the teams and the technology that helped save their lives.
All of the patients that you see here are patients who have survived major catastrophic events that likely would not have survived without these technologies.
It's no exaggeration. This was a celebration of Metro Detroit heart patients who lived despite all the odds.
Originally, he was not going to make it. I was told to say goodbye to my husband. And then Dr. Kaki came in, and he's a superhero.
Ashley's husband was just 45 years old when he went into cardiac shock this summer. They had a 4-year-old son at home, depending on him to pull through.
After I heard everything that happened, if you knew the whole entire story, you'd be like, how the heck did you make it through?
Mike McKay and most of the patients in the room were too sick to undergo open heart surgery and instead benefited from less invasive procedures and technologies, like an artificial heart pump.
This is a miracle. This is why we do what we do. And this is what keeps us engaged. I've been a cardiologist for 42 years. And, on the count of folks like Katie, it keeps me going.
Katie was just 29 years old when she had her heart event, a complication of pneumonia. Like so many, she credits the doctors and their support teams for pulling her through.
He knew what was going to get me better, ultimately, and he made the call, and it ultimately saved my life. So the technology I'm very grateful for it, but without him, I wouldn't be here today.
It really was an amazing event, and we could go on and on, as you can imagine, about all the stories that were in just that one room tonight. Reporting live in Detroit, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Sounds like an amazing night. All right, Jacqueline, thank you so much. New at 11, one person is dead after an Incident after hours at Redford Union High School. Police say the suspect and victim were members of a third-party cleaning staff. The victim was taken to the hospital where he died. A 42-year-old was taken into custody. No students were at the school at the time.
4 people are rescued after their boat capsized while fishing in the Detroit River. Sky 4 over the scene near the Gordie Howe Bridge. The Detroit Fire Department says 4 people were fishing on a boat when it started to sink. Crews were able to quickly remove all 4 from the water, some of them, though, being treated for hypothermia, but everyone is expected to be okay.
Now to an update to a story we brought you at 5. An hours-long standoff ends with police arresting a 23-year-old man. The incident started when police tried to arrest the man at the Spring Lake Apartments just after 3 this afternoon. He faces felony charges including torture and criminal sexual conduct in connection to a sex assault of a woman in Pontiac. A man is in custody after causing tense moments at the Jewish Federation of Detroit in Bloomfield Township. Investigators say a man showed up to the Maxim Fisher building with a pellet gun that looks a lot like a real gun. We're told security inside the building called 911 after the man tried to come inside without identification. They spotted the gun in his waistband. We're told the man is in custody and was having a mental health crisis. Police say this incident does not appear to be an act of anti-Semitism.
Question and answer session today about the independent investigation into the Oxford school shooting. A report from Guidepost Solutions found the school district did not do enough to prevent the shooting. People lined up asking for more details. They're also expressing frustration with the apparent failures, including how the shooter's mental health was addressed. They want to know why his backpack wasn't searched the day of the shooting.
There's no way in the world I would have handed that backpack back to that kid without checking it. It just wouldn't have happened. To me, it's just plain common sense.
I think it's important for the overall report on this to understand, to tell other schools, when you constantly have kids in crisis and you disregard them, you are escalating their behavior.
Of course, we now know the shooter's gun was in that backpack.
Oakland County Animal Control is reminding dog owners tonight to have pets vaccinated to prevent the spread of rabies. Officials say a dog found wandering in Detroit was taken to a vet hospital in Farmington Hills where it tested positive for the disease. Vaccines for dogs are free Tuesday mornings at the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center with the purchase of a dog license.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken returned to Israel today as the outrage grows about the death and destruction on the ground. It comes as protesters demand a ceasefire, but President Biden says he believes there should be a pause to get the hostages out of Gaza. Over at our nation's capital, the House tonight passed a standalone aid package that would send roughly $14 billion in emergency aid to Israel, paired with cuts to the IRS. The bill is expected to fail, though, in the Democratic-led Senate.
Harper Woods officials help residents deal with elevated lead levels in their water. According to the city, 4 of 30 homes tested had actionable lead levels. City is continuing water testing and is handing out water filters tomorrow from 2 until 7 at the Neighborhood Economic Development Coalition on Kelly Road. Harper Woods is continuing to replace lead service lines. They're advising people to flush their water for at least 30 seconds before using it. Remember, boiling water does not reduce the amount of lead. An $8 billion deal will merge 2 popular North American amusement parks.
Now, Six Flags announced today it is merging with Cedar Fair in an $8 billion deal. Cedar Fair we don't mention very often, but we certainly mention its flagship park, Cedar Point in Sandusky. It also owns, though, Knott's Berry Farm in California, Schlitterbahn Water Park in South Texas, and Canada's Wonderland in Ontario. Six Flags has about 20 parks in the U.S., 2 in Mexico, 1 in Canada. This new company is going to keep the Six Flags name.